Good morning. This is Regina Adams coming at you with another busted but blessed Big Mama love message. Um, it's a love message. And I know I didn't say that a couple last few times because last few times it was the last time I talked basically was my testimony of the things I had been through. And I'm looking at my shirt like, I thank God that um, someone blessed me with some clothes that actually fit because um, in case you didn't know, when we were sleeping in a car, a lot of our clothes were destroyed. And so I didn't have any clothes to go to church. I didn't even, even when you look at some of the things my daughter posts, when you look at my daughter's posts, we didn't even have clothes for her to post new outfits in, and mainly because a lot of her stuff was destroyed. And a couple years ago, when I went to go get a restraining order against Loretta, um, because she had broken into our car and had destroyed so many of our clothes that we would just have to wear a lot of things on repeat. So this is something that's new that I've never worn before. It's cute. It shows off my daughter's jewelry. I have on my Saturn because it's a little globe with it's a Saturn. It's a Saturn, but I like to feel like I'm talking to people around the world, with matching earrings. And the only thing Saturn comes, I believe, in the set is Saturn with a matching ring. I don't even know she makes a necklace anymore. So that's me being spoiled. I'm so thankful for my daughter, who's basically been taking care of us. So today, I thought about what would be beneficial in moving forward because when you have trauma, the thing about trauma is in order for it to be effective, you have to stay in it. You have to stay afraid of the thing that caused you fear to begin with, whether it was the unknown, whether it was an actual situation that happened. People thrive in your fear. And even when I watch cop shows, and they were talking about how they choose their victims. They choose their victims based on people who move in fear and people who are not aware of their surroundings, people who are not, with their head on a swivel to see what's going on. You know, the same thing in our situation. I think back when I turned 50 and I wanted the rest of my life to be better than the first part of my life, which I didn't know we were actually going to start hitting the depth of the seriousness of the stalking situation at that time. But what I started to do was I recognized that I didn't have anybody around me that I wanted to guide me the rest of my life. And so I made a decision to start meditating. And in my meditation, the first thing I did was I asked for strength. And every night before I went to bed, I used to say, give me strength, give me strength, give me strength. Because I needed strength to hear God speak to me and do what he said do. And so every night before I went to bed, I would say, give me strength, give me strength. Every morning I woke up, I would say, give me strength. And I would meditate for a couple minutes every night, even every morning before I got out of bed, because even when you meditate at night, you fall asleep, fine, fall asleep, meditate. That way you'll have peace when you go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, it gives you the strength to conquer the day. When I started doing that, I started feeling peace when I would go to sleep. And I think about the person who went through trauma that said they haven't slept. And my heart goes out to them because I know that the person that caused you trauma is thriving on your trauma. They love for people to stay in fear. And when I started meditating, I was saying, give me strength. And then I remembered asking God to give me power, saying, I am powerful. I am powerful. And I realize when I say I am powerful, I'm taking back the power that I was originally given before it started being chipped away from my life through the things or events of my life. So I started calling my power back to me because that made me stronger to be able to go forward to do the things that I need to do. And then after I said I am powerful, I started saying I am fearless. I am fearless. I became fearless because I recognized that the person that was after me operated in my fear. And so when I no longer became fearless, then I stopped having a recurring dream that I had. I remember from the time from when my mother passed away, I started having a dream that I was in a maze. And I would have it periodically that I was in a maze and I couldn't find my way out. And it's like I was running through this house that I would run downstairs to get out and then find myself back upstairs. And then I'd be running through the house and I couldn't find my way out of the house I was running through. And it wasn't till I started meditating on being fearless that I stopped having that dream. And even after I gave my last testimony, it became clear to me that the message that I'm trying to and I'm praying to send to people is a recognition that I'm cleaning up a mess I didn't create. I'm helping others heal from a problem I did not create, which is why the attack has been so severe against me, because if you believe all the negative things that have been said about me, then you're less likely to believe what I'm saying or doing. If you listen to what was said about me years ago when I was yelling at another hotel, when I woke folks up, I did it. What you didn't know was that before I went off, these people had been at the hotel for 6 weeks. They had been at the hotel for 6 weeks. They had knocked on my door like at 4 in the evening. My daughter wasn't working. I wasn't working. We were stuck in a hotel in Artesia. And the moment we would finally fall asleep, somebody would knock on our door and say, oh, I'm sorry. I go to the door and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, wrong door. These people were up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, them and their kids, making as much noise as possible, making it difficult for us to sleep. Even the little kids were knocking on our door and they knew we had been there and nobody was in their room. And the final straw was when they had knocked on my door at 4 in the evening, and it was a lady and her 5 kids standing there, 5 little kids. I didn't go off on her. Wanted to, didn't. But the other thing that infuriated me was that there was a gentleman, Latino, Mexican, who would clean up every morning. And when they checked out every day, the parking lot was so filled with trash. So the next morning, I woke up and I woke everybody up. And I yelled to the top of my lungs because I was sick of them keeping me up at night, sick of them knocking on my door, and sick of them leaving trash. I woke them up, cussed everybody out who told me to shut up because I went off, and then I left. And when I came back, I was still mad, and I cussed them all out and told them to clean up the trash in the parking lot because I was sick of them leaving it for that man to spend the rest of his day cleaning up. And when I say trash, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 pieces. I'm talking about it's like they had 3 meals a day sitting in their car. And when they left out, or when they checked out at 12 noon, every piece of trash that was in their car was in the parking lot. So 3 meals a day sitting in your car eating, and each of y'all got 4 or 5 kids, and you're taking all that trash. You clean out your car before you leave, and you cleaning out your car was putting trash in the parking lot for the gentleman to come along to clean. If you're going to clean out your car, the trash can's right there. Put your stuff in the trash. So yes, I went off. Smooth off. I cussed everybody out. I cussed the men out and the women out. And the kids were quiet. The men and the women went to go clean the parking lot because I was sick of it for 6 weeks. So yes, I was the villain. Yes, I have been the villain. Yes, I have been the villain in other people's stories, in situations where I know things were not right. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem fixing things that are not right, you know, and I don't have a problem with confrontation. I said all that to say that when you've been through enough, you become fearless. You meditate on the being fearless, and then you become fearless, and then you ask for strength to step forward in the thing that you need to be fearless in. What I need to be fearless in is speaking on the things we had went through. So that way you understand I'm not just up here talking about stuff I don't know. Been there. That's why I can send up love, because I understand that no one ever invited her in. She came in through a window and used the people around her to instill fear, and continued to use more people that she was able to instill fear in. And when she came across somebody that was strong enough to fend off fear, then she will try to do it through your children. And then that's where we stand out. But I want you to focus on doing your meditation. Focus on overcoming fear. Focus on becoming fearless. You know, there are things that I meditate on specifically. I meditate on, give me strength, give me wisdom, give me guidance. I am fearless, I am powerful, and give me knowledge. Because when you go, you can't have the knowledge of God, because that's what I'm asking for, knowledge of God, if you're fearless. Because you can't be fear with the knowledge of God when you're asking God to show you or move in your life in a way you've never seen him move before. When I'm asking for knowledge, I want the mind of God so I can have, so I want the mind of God so I can know what to speak to his people, to give the heart of God. Having the mind of God will require you to be fearless. It's knowing that, and let me say this, and I'm changing the subject, and I want you to understand this. Years ago, I started working in customer service. I would answer the phone. I worked at American Airlines, but it wasn't until I worked at Blue Cross of California that I actually recognize the gift that I have to explain things to people. I had a coworker who, excuse me, don't remember exactly where she's from, but she had a thick accent and she transferred calls to me because somebody wanted to speak to someone they could understand better. And what I've learned in customer service is when you're trying to explain something to someone, whether you have the accent or whether they have the accent, if you speak a little slower, people understand what you're talking about. With me, even in my last message, I have, you guys, a lot of you know, a lot of you don't. When you have a spiritual ear, you can hear things in the spirit as you're trying to give your message. So when I'm talking slower, I'm trying to make sure that I use my words and not the words that I'm hearing in the spirit trying to distract me from getting the message across. That's why you'll see me at times slow down in my message, because I don't want to get distracted from telling you what you need to know, what you need to understand, which is why I slow down. When I'm talking about becoming fearless, when I'm talking about the thrill of people operating in your fear, it's for you to understand that just like I'm here trying to help you fix something that I didn't create, you have to want to fix what happened even though you didn't create it. And it all comes with your mind. It all comes with your ability to control your mind. And that's where meditation plays a strong part in everyone's lives. Because once you take back the ability to control your own mind, then the fear will go out the window. And when challenges come up, you will face them head on, which is what my maze was about. Running from fear. But now that I'm not running, able to stay here and face every challenge head on. And the people I will be surrounding myself with are people that have been through some things, that are not fearless. That's why when I was talking about getting ready to open my own company, working with people that used to be on meth folks are fearless. They don't give two F's. Looking forward to working with them when we get to that point. But at the same time, I want to encourage people to heal themselves from the things that cause them to go in that direction, even when it's not your fault. You know, we, even as Black people, we look at other races and are like, what do you have to worry about? Our struggle isn't the same. No, it isn't the same. But it doesn't mean that there's not a struggle there. It doesn't mean that the other races are not overcoming stereotypes that were implanted and embedded in them before they were born, just like us. It's not that we all are not struggling. We all have a struggle. It's just different. And once we understand and come to that level of respect that the struggle we have is, we all struggle, it's just different, then maybe we can work together to get past our differences. We've all been through a trauma, whether it was our fault or not. We've all been through a trauma. And my prayer is that we take back our power. We become fearless. We ask God for guidance. We get the wisdom on how to know how to speak the things He's giving us. And then we get the knowledge of God to be able to encourage and help somebody else. And that's what I want you to understand and know for today is become fearless in your walk in this life, because the devil wants to operate in your fear. And when you're no longer fearless, his ability to operate is minimized. Not that he won't turn up the volume. You have to expect that. He's going to turn the volume up and take it to a level you didn't expect. But then that's where your meditation comes in. So when you're ready to face it, you face it. When you're dealing with the challenges, you face it head on. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to face your challenges head on. And that's the best message of love I can give you guys, is meditate so you can face your challenges head on. You guys have a great day.